So this video is why the universe is alive. I think if we can convince each other that the universe is alive, then we can make people believe in God. If we can make people believe in God, we can make people believe that the natural evolution of our society is upwards. And we're not some, accident that's going to become doomed. That no matter what happens, as long as we care for the larger organism, working with each other, then the natural progression is up, and so we're all going to be okay. And that's the way it was always supposed to be since the beginning. Last night I was listening to a debate with Deepak Chopra and some other scientist on Coast to Coast Radio, and I only heard it for like a couple of minutes because it was late and I was kind of passing out, and I turned it off when I realized I wasn't able to pay attention to what they were saying. But they were having a debate, and Deepak Chopra was trying to say that the universe is alive, so that there is a God, that God exists. And the other guy was trying to say otherwise. And Deepak Chopra's argument was that we are all alive beings now, and we're part of the universe, and so therefore the universe is alive. And the guy said, well, that's not good enough for me. So I have an idea. This is my reasoning. And it's really simple and it's really quick. Okay, we all can agree that some single-cell organisms are alive because they eat and they poop. That basically makes something alive. If you eat, and you grow and you poop and you procreate new ones. So you have the amoebas, these little single-cell organisms, and they're living around, they're doing that. And they live in a environment with lots of other single-cell organisms, and bacteria, which is alive, and viruses, which are alive because they reproduce and all that stuff. Parasites and stuff. They live inside of an organism. I guess those are the bad ones, the bad life. But we have single-cell organisms in our body. We have our red blood cells. And those are alive. Just like a amoeba is alive. It's the same thing. A red blood cell and an amoeba. There are single-cell organisms that are alive. The red blood cell. So if the amoeba has a soul to it, a little conscious being, a little critter, walking around, he knows who he is, he knows what he does. I guess he enjoys going poopy and eating and having his babies and all that stuff, just like a person. Just on a very much simpler level, but I think it's still conscious of himself because, don't get thrown just because he's a tiny little guy that he's stupid. There's tiny little hummingbirds that fly around and are really smart. Hamsters are really smart and they're smart and they're little guys. And there's creatures that are gigantic that are idiots, like the Stegosaurus. His brain was the size of a walnut and he was huge. So, yeah, little amoeba guy. He's a little person, Same thing with a red blood cell. He's a little guy running around. He's separate from our body. He's flowing through, well, obviously he's part of our body, but he's not connected to our body with a string or anything. He's flowing through freely, and he's doing his job for the larger organism. But he's got his own little mind. We've got hundreds and hundreds of red blood cells in our body, if you were to add them all up together. And each one of those little red cells has got his own little soul. It's his own little person going around enjoying life, aware. I'm sure he's aware of the other blood cells bumping into him, and they're created, and they don't procreate with themselves, but they live. They're alive. If you take him out of the environment, he's dead. But we are alive as well. I'm alive. I have my own soul, which is a different soul, more evolved and advanced and larger than the red blood cell. So that's what it's the same thing with, like, the universe. We have the earth with all the little people running around doing our job, helping maintain the biosphere. And then there's that larger group of all of us, like the planet, which is its own soul. And then all the other planets together and the stars together create like the galaxy, which is its own soul. And then all the galaxies come together and they create its own larger soul with its own idea, its own mind. So I guess if you think that like the universe is alive, that there must be a like a center to the universe with like a central membrane that thinks and stuff. And yeah, that's the $100 million question right there. I don't even get that far. Nancy Lieder, who channels the Zeta aliens, I don't know if I believe her or not, or how much of her that I believe, but she says that the Zeta aliens believe in God, but they don't understand what God is. But I think that God, my idea of God is just that whole universe as an alive being, and that there's lots of other beings above us that are a lot smarter than us and older than us, like the Earth and the Sun, and that communicate and take care of stuff and look around and so yeah, there has to be even something larger, and that's about as far as I can get. But the idea is that everything inside of the world is alive. There's just different kinds of life forms. There's plants. They don't have hearts, but they procreate. Then you have the red blood cells, and then you got the viruses, which are a totally different thing, and then the parasites, and the Earth is alive because the Earth eats sunshine and then poops out oil and grows. And the Earth actually sends food back to the sun via the gravitational relationship that the Earth and the sun have together, where they're giving and taking. Newton actually wrote about that. Newton wrote a lot of stuff that was lost until like 1941, and he believed that the Earth was alive and rocks were alive, and and that the Earth fed the sun. But it's just like the Earth is this big. If you go to the jungle, all of the plants help each other. They can't live by themselves. They all live with each other. All the bigger trees protect the little trees in the bottom from the sunshine. And then the little trees in the bottom protect the bigger trees by, nutrifying the earth so that their roots have some dirt to eat. And the little animals help the trees by spreading their seeds, and the trees help the animals by providing a home. So it's this big growing forest that is a larger life form with all the little life forms inside of it. And that larger life form, I think, has its own soul. And so when the jungle dies, like from clear cutting or something, or a natural disaster, that soul of that jungle will reincarnate in another jungle. And Bashar the alien says that actually it's called oversouls. You have the little souls and then the bigger soul, which is part of the little undersouls, which is a difficult concept for humans to understand, because that would mean that all of us humans are like part of the same soul, which is like it's a little bit faggy. It's a little bit, it's like a little bit too intimate for people to be comfortable with, especially if you don't like somebody, what, part of the same soul? No, you know what I mean? Anyways, Bashar said that whales are the oversoul to the dolphins. It's kind of tribute to think about. But but it's kind of, when we make movies and we put life to machines like Terminator and The Matrix and stuff. I think that's actually real. Like, the internet probably has a soul. We provided this great intelligence, and so then just a soul inhabits it and kind of I would say even looks after it. And so would that mean that the internet like actually makes decisions and will like take over and stuff? Um, I don't think so. But as far as working, like, for example, the aliens say that they travel around in these ships that are alive, and they're built out of a really higher level of technology, like silicone chips and stuff. Um, and it's but like a soul actually inhabits that ship, and so you can communicate with the ship like the way that you would communicate with your horse, type of a thing. And yeah, I think that's how like big the universe is and how many different kinds of life forms. You just yeah, what we need to do is just expand our imaginations and embrace that. And if we do actually believe that, the good that comes in that is us having faith. We need to have faith in the larger system and, well, more importantly, in each other. Most of the wars that have ever happened, I think, have been completely useless, needless to have even happened. They only happen because somebody's like their ego gets damaged because some dude like that they thought they got a little bit of a raw deal. Um, like World War I was like that. They assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and so the Austro-Hungarians blamed the Serbians for that, and we're gonna wage war on Serbia and attack Serbia. And so Serbia made all of these because it was a Serbian national who did it. So so Serbia made all of these like concessions. Or like, okay, made, but they didn't make one concession. So then they decided to attack them, and then the Germans decided to attack them too because they were on the Austrian side, no matter what. And so then they attack everybody, and then we have World War One. And for what? Yeah, but like the whole war on drugs, not having any faith in humanity. If we let drugs be legal, all of society is going to crumble because that's a lack of faith. It's drugs are natural. God made marijuana, so if it's always been around. So if you try to clip stuff and throw people in jail because you think that if they were free, they would take over and destroy the world. I think you're going to find out you're actually the one who's destroying the world by interfering, I guess, playing God and trying to not having any faith and throwing everybody else in jail. So, yeah, it's like this whole, I don't know, I guess there's talk of like maybe invading Iran now, like because supposedly they tried to assassinate somebody, and people don't like what they're doing, so now let's invade the whole. That's a lack of faith. Anybody who supports that, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of different people for different reasons who want to go in and do that, but the people who would support that, a lot of the people who'd support that would do it because they just don't have faith. They don't have faith that Iran can take care of themselves, and if we just give them computers and stuff and internet, educate and show them how cool we are, then they're just going to naturally grow and to be like us. But if we don't have faith that they are able to do that, and they're like some kind of monster who needs to be like destroyed and built up from the ground up, like in our image and by force, then yeah, that's not gonna. It's gonna set a precedent, a legacy of basically evil of destroying just for your. And then you find out that the people in charge were just doing it for selfish reasons anyway. Maybe to make money off of the arms race or something. Yeah. So yeah, we need to have faith. We need to believe that it's all alive, and that's my reasoning. The little guys are alive, but we're alive, but we have little people inside of us that are alive. Same thing with the universe. We're little people, but then the universe is alive in its own soul, just in a different kind of a body. Whew, okay.